Those were great. Hi, it's me again. So I'm Susan, and I was a reporter for a very long time. And when you're a reporter, you get really nice chances to see people when they aren't aware you're really there. And so I got a chance to go to Winter Growth, which is an adult daycare center for people who have Alzheimer's. And so I would go there and write stories about the people who are there. And one of these stuck with me as a wife who had Alzheimer's and the husband that took care of her. So this is fiction, though. Henry Nicodemus sank his thighs into the pool, and his skin crawled up his body to avoid the cold. The chill hit his chest. He sucked in a shuddering breath and plunged under. The squeaks of flip-flops on the wet tile, the shouts from the baby pool, the classic rock from the lifeguard's radio, they all vanished. His long body floated, a pale feather against the sky-blue floor. At 73, his thin flesh was puddling downward, but he was still strong. His jerky crawl carried him to the first wall quickly. He gulped the noisy, chlorine-laced air and struck out again. Silvered with water, the triangles of his elbows churned like teeth in a gear. In the underwater quiet, his mind began to circle around itself like a dog trying to find a comfortable spot. What could he make for dinner? Did he file the insurance appeal for Sarah's neurologist visit correctly? Did his back feel better than yesterday, or worse? Waves ricocheted into his nose as he reached out for the wall. He turned to start his second lap and noticed the small twinge in his back. I'm a grumpy old man with a bad back, Henry thought, holding on to the pool's lip for a moment, watching the bobbing blue cap on the woman swimming in the next lane. She was fast, he noticed, but not as graceful as Sarah in the water. He hadn't brought Sarah into the pool in a year. She wouldn't understand. She wouldn't like it. At least he didn't think she would, but maybe it would soothe her. Henry shook away the thought, clearing his ears as he did. He was tired of his own second-guessing. Without his glasses, the YMCA's windows were fuzzy gray rectangles dripping with the March rain. It seemed like it hadn't been sunny since his back had betrayed him a month ago, the morning he noticed winter was almost over. He had sat at his breakfast table that February morning and noticed the sun needling through the crisscrossed oak and maple branches at a new slant. Dollops of snow were slipping off the evergreens across the street, and when he walked out to get the paper. Halfway down the walk, beside the wet trunk of the dogwood, Henry spotted the knobby stalks of snowdrops, nudging aside crumbs of ice. When he bent down to pick up the post, the sun's new angle warmed the back of his knees. He sniffed the metallic scent of wet soil under dirty snow. Henry straightened up, clutching the wet newspaper bag, and knew what he wanted, a walk with Sarah. He turned back to the house, the plain gray rancher they'd bought 45 years ago. Sarah's coneflowers and asters, slimy from the snow, slumped against the foundation of the house like undulating kelp. He hadn't cut them down this fall. Every time they came outside and he tried to work in the garden, Sarah had wandered farther and faster out of their yard. By the time he'd gotten her settled with a trowel and a pot of dirt from the shed, he then started weeding. She had lost interest and was roaming past the corner of the house. He was worried about her stumbling into the street or crusting the rim of the sediment pond the developer had built down the hill. So he'd had to let the garden go. They'd eaten a few servings of beans, some cherry tomatoes, and 3 rogue zucchini all summer. They probably wouldn't plant anything this spring, he thought, as he opened the front door.